Alright, welcome back Hat Clan fam. I hope you're all doing well, and I'm super excited because I got a little awesome video today that we're going to talk about, and it all came from a question that I got from a student, and I wanted to talk today a little bit about the difference between playing fingerstyle guitar and finger-picking guitar. A lot of people commonly think that this is kind of the same idea, but it's really not. It's kind of two different ideas and two different schools of thought. So I want to kind of zoom in on the fretboard a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about the difference between fingerstyle and finger-picking guitar. So let's zoom in, break it on down. Alright, so we are going to be doing this little demonstration on a beautiful Kremona Fiesta F65CW-SB. You should definitely check this out. I did a review on this guitar. I'm actually a Kremona Guitars artist, so check the link down in the description for that. I love this guitar. Alright, anyway, so let's get into it. So there's kind of like two different schools of thought, and again, this question kind of came to prominence from a student question that really was asked to me about, you know, kind of the difference in the idea of fingerstyle guitar and finger-picking guitar. Now, I always thought they were kind of the same thing, but they are a little bit notably different, so I want to kind of get into that historically. So, fingerstyle guitar is actually the idea of just using all of the fingers and playing the strings solely just with your hand, and your right hand fingers, or left hand if you're a left-handed guitarist. And finger-picking guitar was actually come around the idea of using a thumb pick, so a flat thumb pick and using the finger. So, not terribly much of a difference, but there is some notable differences, so I kind of want to talk about that. And I think another important thing to consider is depending on the genre of music in which you're playing in, because finger picking, in terms of like classical guitar repertoire, is not considered finger picking. It's just considered part of the act of playing it. So if you're playing like classical pieces, for example. We don't really consider that fingerstyle guitar. We just consider that playing the guitar. That's normally how it is in classical guitar repertoire. You don't consider it fingerstyle. You're just playing it. But in fingerstyle music, more like geared towards like popular culture music and stuff, it's usually considered, you know, fingerstyle. So there's a lot of different kind of interpretations that I kind of come to the conclusion of considering what again is finger picking and fingerstyle. I don't really consider myself a fingerstyle or a finger-picking guitar player. Even though I primarily play with my hands, I just consider myself playing the guitar. I don't consider myself in one camp. But a lot of the times when we're thinking about finger-picking, I think about it in terms of just playing a chord progression and picking out the notes of that chord. So, and I played in that intro, I had an E major chord, I had an A major 7 chord, back to an E chord, and then I had a B9 chord with an added sus4 in there, with the open E. And I wasn't really picking out a melody, I was just finger picking those chords. Now, I would consider that finger picking because normally, in some cases, there might be a vocal line over that where I'm just accompanying my vocal line, da da da, you know, whatever I may be singing. And when I think of fingerstyle arrangements, I think of playing all the parts of the chord and the melody. So whatever that song may be, the one that comes to mind is, because I did an arrangement on it not that long ago, is Pure Imagination. Right, so you can hear the melody and the chords, and I would consider that a fingerstyle arrangement. And really, again, the most interesting thing about it is if you look at it from a historical context, there is this idea of playing with a thumb pick, which is kind of, you know, developed like maybe in like the country picking era. We have, you know, like this flat kind of thumb thing. And I've I've tried playing with thumb picks, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like it. It doesn't really feel that good in my fingers. So I've just been kind of used to playing in this fingerstyle approach, if you will. But again, the context is really interesting, because if you're playing like classical repertoire, again, it's not really considered fingerstyle. You're just playing the guitar. And in different styles of music, obviously, there's an importance between using your fingers. Like if you're playing like a bossa nova groove, because there's just going to be a different tone that you're going to achieve. And this is why I like playing with my fingers so much more than I do with a pick, because I can just do so much more, in my opinion, with my fingers. If I was playing with a pick, it'd be really, really hard to achieve that. I suppose you could... You just can't get the subtleties in it, right? Or, you know, there's certain things that you can pick with different melodies. There's just certain things that you can't emulate with a pick that you can with your fingers. And one thing that I have started to become more in the habit of doing is actually using my first fingernail as a guitar pick. So what I actually do is I kind of round my finger, and I will use that as a pick. So if I'm, you know, playing through a scale passage, and you get a different tone, right? Here's just with fingers. Different kind of tones, right? Here's that with... You get totally different kind of sound. But again, it's this kind of this idea about where our fingers are being used. You know, in the style of music, if you're playing like traditional classical Spanish guitar music, you use your fingers. There's really, really hard things that you can't do if you're playing with a pick. It's all about the styling in which you're playing in, which I think is really interesting. So if you kind of look at like the history of guitar, when guitar was first around, like this right here, this is kind of like a traditional guitar design, right? And so when guitar was first started playing, it was actually played with gut strings, not nylon strings. So actually internals of, you know, cattle and sheep and stuff like that. And you never played with a pick. Picks are fairly, you know, new kind of idea about playing music. And so that's why for me, as like trying to kind of bestow and you know, kind of observe the traditional aspect of playing guitar, I'm such a big fan of playing with the fingers. So let me kind of like play a couple little jam ideas here, and just kind of show you exactly, again, why I love fingerstyle guitar so much. Alright guys, that was the video. I hope you really liked it. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and make sure that if this is the first time that you've ever come across my channel, definitely subscribe. Check out all the cool stuff that I have down in the description. I post new videos every single week all about talking about guitar music and helping you on your musical journey. Enough of that being said, take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.